Dear children, we are learning the chapter Rural Development. In that chapter, we finished discussing the two main topics, agricultural marketing system and rural credit system. These two are the most important elements of rural agricultural development. Now, today we are going to discuss a new topic in the chapter which is known as diversification of agricultural activities. This topic is something different from the last two topics which we discussed. Diversification of agricultural activities. Now, what is meant by this diversification? Now, you know that in the process of agriculture, we use land, labor, capital, etc. Now, reallocating these land, capital and labor from the farm activities to non-farm activities is known as diversification of agricultural activities. Now, you all know that agriculture, mainly the farm activities, is a risky factor because it depends on the season. So, if the weather conditions are not favorable for the farmers, if there is no availability of water, all these are the risky factors. It depends on the monsoon season. So many risky factors are involved in the farm activities. More than that, in the rural areas, people need the livelihood options. They need different livelihood options. They need a sustainability in their livelihood. So, for that, the farm option will not make their life complete. Therefore, non-farm activities have to be introduced in the agricultural sector. So, diversification of agricultural sector means to change from the farm activities to non-farm activities. So, that means non-farm activities also have to be included along with the farm activities. Now, we are moving on to the detail to diversification of agricultural activities. Need for diversification. Just as now I discussed, there is a greater risk in depending exclusively on farming for livelihood. I told you, farmers depending exclusively on farming, there is a risky factor involved in that, because you know farming mainly depends on the weather conditions, availability of water and availability of good quality of seeds, etc. Therefore, it involves a risky factor. Then, another need for diversification is to provide sustainable livelihood options. Just as I told you now, to provide a sustainable livelihood options. Now, in the farming activities, the main problem that arises is if there are more farmers producing one particular type of crop, what happens in the market is the supply will be more in the market. In that case, there is a chance for the price to come down. Therefore, it will affect their income. So, in order to find a solution for all those problems, diversification is very, very essential. So, if there are more supply of one particular crop in the market, supply will be more and more. The demand will not be matching to that supply. It is not necessary that the demand has to be matched to that supply. If the demand is not matching to the supply, what will happen? The stocks will get piled up and prices of that particular crop has to come down. So, in that case, the farmers will not be getting a fair price. So, in that case, diversification of agricultural activities is very much required. So, the need for diversification is to avoid the risk involved in farm activities in agriculture, and the second one is to provide sustainable livelihood options to the farmers. Now, types of diversification. So, I told you diversification means reallocating of all the resources such as land, labor, capital, etc. from the farm activities to non-farm activities. So, in the rural areas, along with the farm activities, some people should be diverted to do non-farm activities. Now, let us see which are the types of diversification. Diversification of crop production. Diversification can be done in two ways. The first method is diversification of crop production and diversification of productive activities. Now, diversification can be done in the crop production also. Now, what is meant by that? Change in the cropping pattern. What kind of a change is expected? Farmers, instead of cultivating only a single crop, encourage them to cultivate multiple crops. So, it will help them to give a stability in the income. So, instead of cultivating only a single crop, instead of producing only a single crop, encourage them to produce multiple crops. Then the next is diversification of productive activities. What do you mean by that? It means shifting of workforce from the agricultural sector to non-agricultural sector. Do not allow the farmers to stick on only to the agricultural sector. They should be allowed to shift to the non-agricultural sector. So, government should take measures to shift the workforce from the agricultural sector to non-agricultural sector. Why? This is because we know that India as a country is facing the problem of disguised unemployment. You know that concept very well because you have been learning it from class 9 onwards. So, in order to remove the problem of disguised unemployment, the workers should be removed, shifted from more workers which are excess in the farm activities should be shifted to non-farm activities. This is known as diversification. So, there are two types of diversification. The first one is diversification of crop production and the second one is diversification of cropping pattern. Now, types of diversification: diversification of crop production, diversification of productive activities. It is written here. Crop production is shifting from single cropping to multiple cropping system. Shifting from single cropping system to multiple cropping system. Next is diversification of productive activities, that is shifting of workforce from agricultural sector to non-agricultural sector. Okay, so this is diversification. There are two types of diversification. I hope it is clear to you. Next is diversification of crop production. We are going to discuss in detail regarding diversification of crop production. I told you there are two types of diversification: diversification of crop production and diversification of productive activities. Now we are going to discuss in detail regarding diversification of crop production. Now, what is meant by diversification of crop production? I told you, instead of encouraging the farmers to produce single crop, encourage them to produce multiple crops also. Now, what is the main aim of diversification of crop production? What do you mean by that? It aims to shift from the subsistence farming to commercial farming. What do you mean by that? You have learned about subsistence farming and commercial farming in class 10. In subsistence farming, the farmers will be producing the products only according for their own need. But whereas in the commercial farming, the farmers will be encouraged to produce more and more crops so that they can sell it in the market. From the word itself, it is clear: commercial farming, to sell in the market. So for that purpose, encourage the farmers to do farming on multiple crops instead of doing it on single crop. It reduces the dependence on farmers, dependence of farmers on one or two crops, and make them engage in wide range of crops. So as a result, what happens? The farmers will be engaging in wide range of crops instead of only one crop. Next is, it will raise their income. They are producing multiple crops, so it will raise their income, because you know the prices of different crops, all the crops, the prices of all the crops are different. So if the farmers are encouraged to produce multiple crops, it will raise the level of their income. So what are the benefits of diversification of crop production, or what do you mean by this diversification of crop production? It means to shift, it aims at shifting from subsistence farming to commercial farming, then reduces the dependence of farmers on one or two crops. Instead of that, they will be engaged in multiple crops, different varieties of crops. It will help to raise the level of their income. Next is diversification of productive activities. It means to shift the workforce from farm activities to non-farm activities. Now, what are the benefits of that? It raises the level of income and provides sustainable livelihood. I told you, India is a country which is characterized by disguised unemployment. So, the problem of disguised unemployment can be solved with this diversification of productive activities. Okay, so instead of being in the farm activities, if a person is getting shifted to non-farm activities, there are different options available in the non-farm activities. Non-farm activities have wide range of segments. Let us see which are the wide range of segments, like agro-processing industries, food processing industries, leather industry, tourism, then household-based industries, cottage industries I mean, like pottery, crafts, handloom, etc. Now, in this, the household industries, household-based industries like pottery, crafts, and handloom, these are neglected in our country. Proper infrastructure is not given to the people. So, government has to take measures in order to provide proper infrastructure facilities for the growth of cottage industry. So, this can give the sustainable livelihood option for more number of people in the rural areas. So, the diversification of productive activities raises the level of income and provides a sustainable livelihood option, and it helps the people to engage in wide variety of segments. For example, agro-processing industries, food processing industries, tourism, household based industries such as handloom, then pottery, crafts, etc. Now, non-farm areas of employment. So, now we will see what are those non-farm areas of employment. So, the diversification of productive activities means shifting of workforce from farm areas to non-farm areas. So, which are the non-farm areas, which I explained to you now, but we will be doing a schematic representation of non-farm activities here. Which are the non-farm activities? Non-farm activities includes animal husbandry, dairying, then fisheries and horticulture. There are so many other. Along with this, we have information technology too. Information technology. Engaging the people in IT industry. We have tourism. Lot of options are there. You can write. Okay. Now, in this non-farm areas of employment, the topics which we are going to concentrate in this chapter is animal husbandry, dairying, then information technology, fisheries and horticulture. The first one is animal husbandry. What is animal husbandry? It is that branch of agriculture which is concerned with breeding, rearing and caring of farm animals like cattle, goat, duck, goose, etc. So, it is that branch of agriculture which is concerned with the rearing, breeding and caring of farm animals. Now, what is the benefit of that? So, instead of people engaging only in the farm activities, there are those people who are skilled in doing that. So, remove those excess people in the farm areas to these non-farm activities. That is meant by the diversification of productive activities. Now, in India, the feature of animal husbandry. In India, India owns one of the largest livestock population in the world. How do we know that India owns the largest livestock population in the world? Because of the report given by NSSO. So, you know that very well. You have learned in class 11, National Statistical Survey Organization, isn't it? So, according to them, India owns one of the largest livestock population in the world. So, animal husbandry is a branch which deals with the rearing of cattle, then breeding of cattle and caring of farm animals. It can be cattle, goat, duck, goose, etc. Okay, now the benefits. What are the benefits of people when they engage? What are the benefits when the people engage in the non-farm activities, in the animal husbandry? It increases the stability in the income. It gives food security. Along with that, it is giving food security too. nutrition for family. Yes, definitely. It provides nutrition for the family, then it gives stable income for the family, and also it provides food security to the people. Okay, then comes more women are employed in this area. You can find more number of women employed in this particular area in animal husbandry. So women are also engaged in the work, so they can run their family, livelihood option. Then comes, it provides alternative livelihood option to over 70 million small and marginal farmers. So it is just providing the livelihood option to 70 million small and marginal farmers. It's very important. So these are the benefits of animal husbandry. Then comes the next is dairying. Now what is meant by dairying? It is that branch of agriculture which involves the breeding, then rearing, and utilization of dairy animals. For what? For the production of milk and other various dairy products processed from it. You know, milk, ghee, curd, etc. So no need of wide explanation for that. Now, India stands first in the world in the milk production. Why India stands first? Due to the implementation of Operation Flood. Due to the implementation of Operation Flood, India stands first position in the world in the production of milk. How India is able to stand first in the first position due to the implementation of a program known as Operation Flood. This Operation Flood is also known as White Revolution. We all learned about Green Revolution, right? Instead of that, Green Revolution is associated with the production of food grains. White Revolution is associated with the production of milk. Increase in the production of milk due to the implementation of Operation Flood is known as White Revolution. That is why Operation Flood is also known as White Revolution. Now, this White Revolution or Operation Flood was started by National Dairy Development Board, NDDB, under the chairmanship of the person Dr. Verghese Kurian. And the successfully implemented state is Gujarat in India. This due to the implementation of White Revolution, due to the implementation of Operation Flood, Gujarat was able to produce more and more quantity of milk, and it stands first in the successful state in the implementation of Operation Flood. Now, working of this system, how do this Operation Flood works? We need to know how the Operation Flood system works. All the farmers pool their milk and it will be given to the cooperative societies. So every village in a particular area there will be cooperative societies, and all the farmers will be collecting their milk and they will be giving it to the cooperative society, and the payment of each and every day the amount of the milk which they are giving will be recorded, and they will be given a book. For that, the amount of the milk that each and every day that they are giving will be recorded, and once in a week they will be given the payment. So every week, weekly payment is settled. Every week they will be getting the payment of the amount of the milk that they have given to the cooperative societies. From the cooperative societies, it will be distributed to different markets. It will be taken by different agencies like Milma, different agencies are there. So these agencies will be collecting it from these cooperative societies. So weekly payment settlement will be made. So farmers will get a relief because they are getting a weekly payment for that. And it also raises their level of income and it helps them to get a sustainable livelihood option. Okay, so farmers are given a fair price for the same because it is run by the cooperative societies. They need not sell their milk outside for the private sellers. So for this they will be getting a reasonable and fair price. This is how the Operation Flood system works. So due to the implementation of Operation Flood or White Revolution, India is able to stand as a first position in the world in the milk production. I hope in the non-farm activities the concept of animal husbandry and the dairying is clear to you. Thank you.